Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon for October 6th, 2018, with your hosts, Peacebreaker2448 and Rapid Epsilon.
Hello.
Can I just say this right now? There's only like one tag in that entire list that's really usable for this show.
Are you physically trying to search? Because there is game news and stuff along that lines in there.
I know, there's gaming news, but there's gaming news, and then there's just news, and then there's nothing else in there, really. I looked through the entire list.
Did you find an actual breakdown of the entire list? Because I know Twitch itself will only show you a partial list.
I was about to say, if you go into the tags, you can hit all tags, and then you can search through it. Or then you can scroll through it. Because I scrolled through the whole list in there. I'm like, what the fuck? There's not even a podcast one. And you click there, it'll pull up all tags, and then there's all the tags, and I scroll through, and I'm like, is there a podcast? Is there a just discussion one, maybe? No, not particularly.
You mean on the dashboard itself?
Yeah, on the dashboard itself.
That's weird. Firefox does it different.
I was about to say, I'm on Firefox and it gives me all tags.
Yeah, but under all tags it was only showing a partial list. It was not showing the entire list like I'm seeing in Opera.
Okay.
I would have to physically type a letter in.
I'm getting the whole list. Like, what's the last one?
I'm not in Firefox right now.
Oh, yeah. Because I have a list that goes through to, like, W.
Maybe they fixed that then.
I would think so. Because, like,
But it would only go down to, like, C or D, and then that was it.
No. Are we doing some woodworking here? Or, I don't know. Do we qualify as stand-up comedy? Or sculpture? Or roll and move? What the fuck is roll and move supposed to be?
Really?
What?
Tabletop games?
Oh. What the? Why would that be a tag? Why would you count that as a tag?
Because if you were playing Monopoly as opposed to any other kind of actual tabletop game. I mean, if you think about it, look at the difference between Cards Against Humanity and Monopoly.
Right. But you could just say board games.
But that would encompass both still. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
It still doesn't narrow that down.
Yeah, I would think, like, board games would be Monopoly and Clue, and tabletop would be more your D&D and your tabletop RPGs.
But they're both used interchangeable.
That is weird, because I've never thought they would be used interchangeable. I thought those were usually mutually exclusive.
No. Nope.
Also, what the fuck is top supposed to be?
What?
Top. T-O-P. Top. That's a tag.
I don't know.
Also, there's TGS in here, but I know that's not us.
Yeah.
That's Tokyo Game Show, because there's other fucking shit in there. There's like E3 and that stuff, so I'm like, oh, that's the Tokyo Game Show one. Can we still use that technically and be able to get away with it?
Honestly, I would think we could.
I mean, nobody's using it right now, I assume.
But I guess we should talk about what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. That
Yeah.
I guess hasn't been streamed. I guess that would be the best thing to do.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
And you're right. No one's using the TGS tag at the moment.
I thought.
I just had to look. Because I figured someone somewhere would be like, yes, I'm just going to do it because internet troll. I mean...
So...
Trying to think. Well, I mean, I guess technically we both can say the same kind of thing. The Nintendo Online 2D games.
Yeah, the NES emulation stuff, which I've dug, to be honest. It's neat.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to them, hopefully down the road, expanding it into SNES stuff. Like, I'm not expecting them to implement the entirety of Virtual Console in it. It would be a cool idea if they did, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I foresee this probably being their cheap alternative to getting the SNES and NES games and maybe the GBA stuff into a Virtual Console-esque scenario. And basically this is our test grounds for will Virtual Console be a thing?
Honestly, they just... If Nintendo wants this to be really successful, just go, alright, let's do Netflix, but video games.
To be fair,
old video games.
To be fair, I don't know why they don't just do their whole Virtual Console like that.
Yeah.
Rather than selling it per game and having some games not be as successful as others, just do it as a service. Yeah, they might have to up the price to make it work if they wanted to implement that inside Nintendo Online. But if they made it worth it, people would do it.
Yeah.
Like, if we had N64 and GameCube games in pretty... I'm not going to say in bulk, but in pretty decent numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the NES and SNES stuff, I honestly wouldn't mind spending $60 for the Nintendo Online then. Because I feel like you would get enough content out of it.
Yeah, because, trying to think. Even though I had to do this like a year ago, I had to look up the price for this. How much is an Arduino Mega? Okay, that's still more expensive than an Arduino Mega and just downloading all that shit onto an Arduino, but like, less hassle.
Some OBS. Piss off. Like, why
What?
does OBS decide it wants to just kill my internet at random? Any day now. Okay, either disconnect or quick drop in frames. Pick one. Thank you. I don't know what the heck that was all about. But it's at the end of the day, it's going to be more expensive than doing it through other means.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it.
But that's the thing about, like, with piracy. If you can make it convenient, people won't pirate. Because most people pirate for convenience.
Remind me as I'm trying to get some things going here. Basically, that means the music will be off for just a bit.
Alright. Because All right, take for instance, you want to play the original Star Fox 64. Not any of the ports, the original Star Fox 64. All right, you need an N64. You need an N64 controller, which hopefully they're bundled together on eBay or somewhere else that sells that stuff. And then you also need the cartridge. And if you want to save that stuff, you also need a memory card. I imagine that that's going to run you more than $60, I can almost guarantee. I'd be willing to drop by the local game shop around here and research those prices for you, because they're probably fairly comparable prices across the board, I would feel like. And be like, yeah, that's going to be more than $60. And for $60, it's going to be like, here's Star Fox, here's like Paper Mario, here's like a fucking like, say like 80 NES titles and like 70 SNES titles. And like the top 20 best N64 stuff that people will remember. And maybe like the top 10 GameCube games that include Smash. Like, if they were to go through GameCube, you could theoretically play most of the Smash franchise on one console. And they all might possibly have online. Theoretically. Like, wouldn't that be a bit wild? To be able to play through the history of to play 3/4 of a franchise online.
You know, I wouldn't even want to push them to do online for everything.
Right.
Like, I don't feel like that's a good concept there.
Oh, well, 3/5 actually, my bad. 3/5.
But, I mean, it could be at least a perk of it.
Yeah. There's no loss from putting up all of these NES titles on, or any of these really old titles on there, because right now their value is nothing to Nintendo itself. It's everything to collectors, but nothing to Nintendo. You're not getting. The only money you're going to get is from online subscriptions for this, reasonably.
Come on, man.
Still chipping away.
Something going here. Idiot.
Being a butt.
Uh-huh. Crap, wrong button.
So, anything else besides that?
Not really, no.
Well, I completed Spider-Man on stream, and now I can actually just talk about the story in general now. Like, I really enjoyed it, and then, okay, I said this on stream, but you know the scene where Aunt May dies?
Yeah.
And the camera's overhead?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the image I saw on Hyper RPG stream. as a fucking thumbnail for their stream of Spider-Man.
I apologize for that. That was super loud even on my side. Ow. I'm hoping that all the audio settings I've got set up for that source didn't just blare it on stream, but if it did, I'm sorry. Ow. Okay.
But yeah, I saw that and I'm like, oh, Aunt May in the hospital because a villain attacked her. Oh yeah, that I kind of expected something like that. I did not expect, oh, by the way, we killed her. And I'm like, what? Oh. Well, shit. Well, damn. Just getting that one out of the way, aren't we? Fuck. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's really good. I still highly recommend Marvel's Spider-Man. I'm actually almost 100% in it. I'm at like 90-something% on my main file. I've got all the secret photo ops now. Those took a little while. I got down to 1, and I was like, fuck, I have to look at the guide for this now, don't I? And just kind of cross-reference. Just swing around the general locations until the icon pops up and says, oh, you didn't take a picture of this one yet. Turns out I had to go to the other end of the island, or like to go from the north end of the island to the south end of the island in order to get it. It took a while. I think the only things I'm really down to are getting enough tokens to get all of the upgrades and suits, and that's really it. I think I've at least touched everything. So now it's just the final few percentages to get the rest of the suits and the. Actually, no, I have all the gadget upgrades, I believe. Yeah, no, I have all the gadget upgrades. I need to just get all of the suits now. And that requires, I believe, getting gold on all the Taskmaster challenges and all of the bases and everything. It essentially makes me, it's like, I probably have to gold medal everything, don't I? Yeah, great. I hate the Taskmaster challenges, they're the worst. The movement ones are the worst. At least I have Valkyria Chronicles 4 to play. Even though I hit the chapter point where it's like, you might want to level up a little bit more. You might want to play those skirmishes. You might want to get some of the more squad stories out to get some better potentials for your units. Because, this is a chapter where we literally give you a point that makes you go, alright, now set up your defenses. Because you gotta spend 4 turns holding off the enemy from capturing any of your bases. For 4 turns. And those 4 turns last forever. Like, holy fuck, do they last forever. I almost had it with no one getting knocked out. Until a grenade knocked my units forward just enough so they were outside of the base's boundary so they could be captured. Because as long as you have a unit in your base, it can't be captured. But as soon as the unit's out of base, it's capturable. It's one of those aspects that, has Valkyria Chronicles 1 been run at GDQ? I want to say it has.
I think it might have been, but I can't swear to that.
I think it has, but, you've seen Valkyria Chronicles, right?
No.
Oh. Okay. To describe Valkyria Chronicles, it's a turn-based mixed with a real-time strategy game. So, it's turn-based because you and your opponents take turns moving your units, but it's real-time because when you move your units, you're moving them in a 3D space. And while you're moving, the enemies can, like, automatically attack you if you're in range. But you can attack them, and when you go to attack them, when you hit the button to, like, essentially aim your gun, time stops, or, like, it stops them from attacking so you can attack freely. But your movement range is limited. You have a certain amount of movement range that differs between units. Like, scouts have a stupid amount of range. And in a speedrun setting, speedrunners, I believe, for Valkyria Chronicles abuse the fuck out of that and, like, make one-turn victories happen because you can pick the same unit multiple times in your turn. It's just you decrease their max AP every time you pick them. But if you're smart about your movement, you can make a scout cross the map with a few bonuses to prevent them from dying. And, oh, look, I killed the one guy guarding your base and capped it. Oh, we're done. We're done. This is one turn. And for those wondering, the game expects you to do that. If you want A ranks, you're beating this shit in 3 turns. Like, Valkyria Chronicles knows how its systems are exploitable and expects you to exploit them. Because you get more experience and more money the faster you beat maps. So if you beat it in 1 turn, yeah, it's gonna dump a whole bunch of shit on you. Because, good job. You did right. You did what you were meant to do. And I like the little improvements they've made before, because now tanks, instead of costing 2 CP to use, they're now 1. Which is really nice, because it makes them a lot more viable. Because I'm not spending 2 CP to move around my big clunky tank that has literal tank controls in order to shoot at other tanks, because that's the only really thing they're viable for, because otherwise I can just do anything else with any other unit, really. Especially with grenadiers in play, which are essentially artillery units. I can't think of other real big improvements. I still really enjoy it. It's the most different kind of tactics game that's out there, and I highly encourage anyone to try out Valkyria Chronicles. And the thing about 4 is you don't have to play the other 3 games to play this. Like, this big 4 does not mean it's a sequel. It's kind of a congruent game happening to 1 at the same time, I feel like. Because Valkyria Chronicles 1, 3, and 4 are all telling the story of the war between the Federation / Gallia and the Empire. Except 1, 3, and 4 are all on different fronts. 1 tells you the Gallia's the Gallian front of the army, or front of the war. 3 tells you another end of the Gallian front that deals with a completely separate squad that's in a completely different front of the war, essentially. And 4 takes you to the Federation and tells you their story, or brings you to their front as they charge through the Empire. 2 is the only actual proper sequel, and 2 is the only game you can't pick up on like any current console because it's a PSP game. And 3 came out on the 3DS, and it's Japan only. Actually, was it? No, it came out on the PSP, it came out on the Vita, but it's Japan only. Except characters from it are in Project Cross Zone 2 for some reason. But yeah, don't let that 4 make you go, oh, do I have to play the previous 3 games? No, you don't. It's a brand new cast of characters. It's technically a brand new setting. Like, you can hop into 4 with no previous knowledge and you'll be okay. You'll just miss out on the hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge moments that are like, hey, by the way, this thing's happening in Valkyria Chronicles 1 at the moment, because you'll see the timelines kind of sync up. And you also won't understand why Squad 7 is important when that DLC comes out, because Squad 7 is the group of characters you play in Valkyria Chronicles 1. And there's a DLC coming out where you get to play as Squad E and Squad 7 working together. Because this game has been out in Japan, I think, for like 4 months now. So we're kind of spoiled on that part. Outside that, I caved and bought the Fortnite Battle Pass, and I've also now just found out, oh, the weekly challenges don't expire. They expire at the end of the season. So, essentially, I just get more challenges every week. So, if the challenges kind of stack in terms of what they're looking for, I can get a huge boost in Battle Pass stars and experience, essentially. Which is kind of neat. It's not like you have a week to do these, like, series of tasks. It's more like, alright, here's your task for this week. And then a week later comes in, alright, here's more stuff you can do. And a week comes, another week, here's more stuff, and more stuff, and more stuff, until, like, it's the end of the season in December. So I dig that. That's nice. I've had problems with these last, like, 3 challenges for week 2, because I can't hit shit for health at range to save my life, really. I had a thermal scoped assault rifle, and I could not down somebody. Mostly it was in soaring 50s, because they kept putting up barriers between me and them, and getting shot by other people. It's more a case of, would you pick to die to me, please? Like, pick me as the person you're not blocking instead of them. Because I hit them, but I can't kill them, and my challenge is to kill them at 50 meters or more. And I can't get the 50 meters or more. And it only counts if I down them and then they die. Because if you down somebody, you're going to get credit for the kill no matter who shoots them last. Until they get back up. which is what I found out. Like, you can be the one to, like, completely kill them, but that's not your kill. It was the kill of the guy who downed them to start with. Which I think is, it works. It prevents kind of kill stealing, I guess, but it just makes that challenge harder. But anything else?
Nope.
All right then. Articles this week, and you know how Mega Man 11 just came out, and apparently it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, apparently we're gonna get a Mega Man live action movie, along with our Sonic live action movie, and our Mario not live action movie from Illumination Studios. This will be under 20th Century Fox. It'll be written and directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schoom. Let's see. Nothing else really. We don't even have a release date for it. And it's Mega Man tentative. And I have no idea who these people are. So, are you excited for a live action Mega Man movie that will come in like 4 years?
If it even comes.
If it even comes. Well, the director of one of these people, Henry Joost, is the director of apparently Paranormal Activity 3 and 4. Okay. And Ariel Schoom was a director on those things. Why are we getting two horror directors for fucking Mega Man?
Well, because, Mega Man is, like, post-apocalyptic, right?
No?
I know I had to say it.
I was about to say, you're right. At some point in the X series, and like ZX, kind of. Actually, no, ZX, yes. I forget where in X we get in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that was that. We like our Switches, right?
Yeah.
Would you like a new Switch model to come out next year? Maybe Christmas? Because according to the Wall Street Journal, who is getting direct knowledge, or is getting this word from suppliers with direct knowledge of the plan, we are apparently going to get a new version of the Switch console next year.
I don't know.
Can we not do this, please? Like, can we not apply the 3DS strategy to the Switch, please? Because, like, I feel like this is a disservice to people who have bought in on the Switch early. Because now it's like, oh, you didn't get the best Switch because you didn't wait. And I'm like, man.
The only thing that I'm hoping for, if this is true, is the fact that maybe it'll be similar to how the new 3DS started, where it's not really necessary to have the new Switch, because for the simple fact of how they did the 3DS, I'm gonna call it that. but basically it's not required, but it'll make it look better or run better.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you look, right now, we've got the big issue with the Switch can handle 1080 when docked. But when it's in handheld, it has to go at 720. The dock's really not doing a lot of work there.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me the hardware's capable of doing it. It's more than likely the screen that isn't capable of doing it. Because I don't think we've ever had a 1080 handheld game.
No, I don't think so.
I think everything's been 720 handheld and 1080 docked. So that tells me the hardware's capable of doing it. They might have just not had the resources to do a screen that could handle it. So maybe this one might allow 1080 both docked or undocked.
Yeah, that would...
If it's something like that, or it being able to handle 60 FPS regardless, docked or undocked, something minor like that, then yeah, I'd be fine with it. Because, screw it, give it to me at the lower, I don't care. When you're talking about frame rate and resolution, it wouldn't revolve around having to make a new version of the game. It's just the hardware would have to interpret it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the issue with the new 3DS and the original 3DS. The new 3DS, the games that really needed it, really needed the additional resources it had. I don't think the Switch can really be in that same boat. Not and still be the hybrid it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if this new Switch is going to do something that's going to make the old ones hard to keep up with it, then it's going to turn into a home console. It can't be a hybrid anymore.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping that it's not anything major. Knowing Nintendo, they'll probably do something stupid though.
Yep. Well,
although, looking at the popular articles there, I happened to see something that I had saw before but didn't really look into.
What was it?
About them patenting a Game Boy casing for touchscreen devices.
I saw that and I didn't even think about it because I thought it was just a phone case.
I did too, because that was how the other article I saw about it had listed it. It was like phone cases. But the way that's worded, I'm thinking now, I wonder if it might be maybe a modular Switch for the next version of it, where you could customize what the Switch itself looked like and maybe have attachments that go along with it. Because they could do that and it would still be compatible with the base Switch. Because I would assume everything would have to connect to the USB-C port on the bottom. So, I mean, it might be a little more complicated on a base Switch, but I would think it would be doable between the two.
Yeah. And all this is a phone case. It's actually one of those wallet phone cases, from the looks of it.
Sounds about right.
And actually, the buttons are actually functional. Like the button and D-pad, they're actually functional on this.
Huh.
Anyway, we have a bit of better news. You remember how we had all this speculation and debate about the fucking Ditto Nut?
Yes.
Well, it has a name now. It's Meltan. And this all came out like the next day after we talked about it.
Because of course it did.
Now, even though the article says it's a legendary, it's actually a mythic. It's still not attainable in the game. It only transforms back at the Dittos. The trailer just talks about it a little bit. We do have a typing for it. Let me find the point in where it says it. Where is it? It displays it on screen somewhere. I think it's electric type. Hang on, I gotta look this up because the video apparently doesn't have it, but I know I've seen the typing for it.
The typing for incognito.
Yes, steel type. Actually, it's not electric, it's steel type.
As you do realize at this point, I will refuse to call it by its name.
I know. But yeah, it's a mythic Pokemon, and trailer just talks about it. And it's like, oh, look at this, and at the end, it's a to be continued, and shows that Meltan is in the new Pokemon Let's Go games. Possibly confirming that this is the gift Pokemon for connecting Pokemon Go and Let's Go?
Possibly.
Possibly. I'm not going to 100% say that because I'm not super sure that that's the case, but that might be the case. Like, I'm willing to, like, put money towards that, but I'm not going to confirm it just yet. But yeah. So, yeah, this is... And I assume, I'm under the assumption that this is our first next-gen Pokemon, so... Here's our first Gen 8 Pokemon, folks! So... Since it seems like, most likely, you'll have to get Let's Go to get this. Are you more interested in Let's Go? Because it has Incognito?
No.
But it's a steel type!
Yeah, and...
It's got a nut for a head? And, It's got a little cord tail?
And...
I'm running out of things here because we literally still don't know anything about this goddamn Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest,
now you're starting to get it.
Yeah. and Let's Go has not looked like the best experience for someone who's not either new to Pokemon because of Go or a lapsed player of Pokemon. Because I think if you fall into one of those two categories, Let's Go's perfect for you. But if you have just played Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon or Sun and Moon, maybe not the best one for you, to be honest.
Well, I'll be honest. You kind of have to be pretty dedicated to Go to really even... Probably really even care about Let's Go. Because it feels like a lot of it's patterned after that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like Let's Go would be fine if it was a mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what they're doing. But for it to be a console game, no, that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah. I understand from a tech perspective why Let's Go exists. It's a testing ground to get a lot of tech under, like a lot of the brand new tech I have to think that they have developed for Gen 8 Pokemon that is coming next year. It like get it nailed down, get it working properly, and like this is what we got. As a hey, let's make sure all our tech works.
But
because this is literally our first console game in God knows how long, if ever.
But it's still not implementing all the stuff that they're going to have to implement in the next game unless we're only getting Let's Go games going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those, unless we're getting games in the same style as Let's Go, they're gonna have to come up with new stuff that is pretty much just gonna be thrown into the fire openly there.
Right. Well, it's not like they're testing everything. Like, the engine is a big test that Let's Go is responsible for. The basic engine. Like, the riding and having Pokemon follow you, which I found out that you don't ride the legendary birds, they just follow you around. I'm immensely disappointed by this fact. Immensely disappointed by this fact, folks. I demand the ability to ride my goddamn Zapdos wherever I feel like.
But, okay. You know what, though? I'm gonna go a step further then. You said about testing the fundamentals in terms of the engine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why do we have a completely different battle system? I would think that would be something they would want to make sure they could test and work on.
The battle system is there for trainer battles. It's still the same battle system. It's only for random encounters where it's the Let's Go system, or the Pokemon Go system. And it's even there for legendary battles.
So then I get back to why do we not have it for all of it?
Because this is... I think the best way to put this is some 50-50. We want to convert Pokemon Go players into core Pokemon Go players. And our best way of doing that is to have a game that is halfway between the two. That's what Let's Go is.
But what I'm feeling is going to happen, they're going to get people buying it simply because you'll have the crowd that plays Pokemon Go be like, oh, well, I'll give it a shot. And you'll have the crowd that sees, oh, we're going back to basics, and this is going to be our way of seeing a reboot of the franchise. Because, I mean, to a point, that's what this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to mess everything up because you're going to have everyone buying it, and then more than likely, everyone's going to walk away from it. It might not be all at once, but it's going to be a pretty big chunk of it. Because you're going to have the core players that are like, I don't like this capture system. Case in point, like how we've been.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the Pokemon Go players that might dislike some of the core features too. It's going to be one of those that I feel like this is a train wreck waiting to happen. Because, yeah, it is that middle ground. It is that trying to bring them both together. But they shouldn't be trying to do that. Mobile communities and console communities are really two different things. And that has to be my biggest complaint with the Switch so far. There is a lot of the stuff that is in the cheaper price range on the eShop that really is mobile games. I'm not saying all of it, but there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I feel like that's the biggest flaw with the Switch. Everyone's unsure how to take a hybrid console. It's like they want to make console games, but at the same time, they don't know how to treat the Switch, so we get this weird... It can be played like a console game, but it should have really only been a mobile game kind of limbo there. And I feel like that's what Let's Go's doing too. That's one of those, until I'm proven otherwise, I'm not on board with Let's Go. Because I really feel like this is just another one getting chalked up to they're trying something that's probably not going to turn out like they expected. It'll be successful in sales, but that might be it.
Honestly, as long as we get as long as like Game Freak and Nintendo get the message of this is cool, this is maybe a good entry point for people back into the franchise or into the franchise altogether. Don't forget that this is not what everyone wants. This can be your every other year situation when you're like still like giving like the proper games more time to develop and you still want a yearly Pokemon release. But don't. This, I guarantee you this is not what everyone wants.
And I mean, really, that's from either side of it. Because, like I said, I have a funny feeling Pokemon Go players are going to hate some of the core aspects of it. But I also feel like the same can be said the opposite way, too. And that's kind of bad to say, but it's going to happen. But shall we continue?
Yes. You remember the not Amiibo stuff that Sony did a while back?
Yes.
Well, we have 2 more figures coming out of that series. And actually a lot more, because I looked at the website, and there's like 30. 30 altogether, plus these, which makes 32. We're getting a Banjo-Kazooie and a Conker. And for those wondering, this is the original Banjo-Kazooie design. This is like ripped straight out of the opening of the game, actually. Which, for some reason, they're not listed on the website. Okay. Oh, right. That's why. The numbers jumped. Let me turn that back on. I can probably... No. I'd go from 24 to 29 on their list, and I'm also missing 23. I wonder if their YouTube has this, because they have numbers. But yeah, for those like who may have a collection of Amiibos, like I do, and maybe want something in there for characters that they like, but are probably never going to get Amiibos for, this might be an option. Holy shit, there's a Marcus Phoenix and an Agent 47.
Love that.
I was like, wait a minute, that's a Microsoft thing. Apparently this is just more than just Sony stuff, really. Yeah, because there's a Marcus Phoenix figure I'm seeing in this list. And an Agent 47. I'm gonna put just a straight playlist of this. No, thanks YouTube. Thanks YouTube channel. I was hoping to fill in the hills, but like, rest of the list on their website, there's a Sonic, like a classic Sonic. Like, straight out of Sonic Mania Sonic. Like, let me link you this real quick.
Have to hold on just a bit.
And I checked the video to see a size comparison. They are comparable in size to an Amiibo. So if you just ignore their base, you can literally slip these into your Amiibo collection and no one will bat an eye at it. Like, there's a Crash, there's a Sackboy, there's a little bit of Bloodborne in there, there's a Sea of Thieves figure. There's even a couple Yu-Gi-Oh! Ones in here. And if you like the new Tomb Raider, hey, there's a Lara Croft from that Tomb Raider series. There's even a Parappa the Rapper for if you are feeling that fancy. Like, I'm honestly interested in looking at this stuff because I'm like, I would.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say when I was in GameStop recently that they were advertising this stuff on their channel, but like, damn. Anyway, let's talk GDQ schedule. And by schedule, I mean we only really have a list of games. We don't have the schedule yet. That's still being sorted.
Yeah.
So, I think the quick takeaways from before we just kind of like skim through this list is there is no Kingdom Hearts run, which is a shame because this marathon will be going on right around when Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out. So, meh. But there's still plenty of cool stuff, including an Octopath Traveler run with Tressa. Literally, girl who finds money off of dead bodies every time you transition the screen. or finds people's wallets that they keep dropping when you transition screens. Whichever way you want to look at it. But we got some Bloodborne, a bit of Ape Escape, a bit of Bastion. Good bit of Castlevania. We got a good Castlevania block of... Oh boy. There's even a task of Aria of Sorrow. Yeah.
Easy for you to say.
Yep. Bit of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, just Crash 2. A bit of Cuphead. Some Dark Souls 3. Dead Cells off the bat. That only just came out recently and it's on here. Good bit of Donkey Kong Country. Some Doom 64. Some Final Fantasy 4 pre-Enterprise. Which is it's not a ROM hack. It's kind of their version of a randomizer for Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah, I've heard about that a few times.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's Final Fantasy 9, correct?
Yep.
Freedom Planet, yes, please. I cannot mention how good Freedom Planet is. Like, if you liked Sonic Mania, go play Freedom Planet. You'll enjoy the fuck out of it because it is classic Sonic in every way possible. A bit of God of War 2, a bit of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. A bit of Guacamelee 2. Halo Reach! I don't think I've seen the Halo Reach run.
I don't think I have either.
And it's legendary co-op, which means fucking Spawn shenanigans, I assume.
Legendary co-op might as well be one hit KO.
Yep.
Like, not joking on that.
If it was Lasso, like, oh god, I'd be having non-flashbacks to that bullshit, because we went through all that.
Like, yeah, Legendary is not something to take lightly, but I'm sure there's a lot of skips. And probably some triggers that get completely skipped, causing like no enemies to spawn.
Yep. We got some Mario Kart 64 and Mario Kart DS, Medal of Honor Airborne, which I want to say I've played that Medal of Honor. I feel like I've played that Medal of Honor as a rental back in the day. Mega Man's 10, DOS, 2, Unlimited, X1 through 3 Relay Race, X1 through 3 Relay Race, 02, Metal Gear Solid 2 Solid Snake, or Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, Metal Gear NES, Metal Gear 2 Sons of Liberty. I wonder how broken this one can be. Even though I think the most broken Metal Gear Solid 1 is on PC, because that port kind of was hot garbage. Metroid Fusion with some memory corruption? I'm scared. Some N++, some Nier Automata, the Octopath Traveler run, which is just Tressa's single story, which... Would you just be playing Tressa, or would you actually be picking up other people for that?
I don't know.
Pac-Man Championship Edition, Overload? Okay, I thought that was Overlord for a second. Some Pokemon Gold, a bit of Portal, some Puyo Puyo Tetris, some Rayman 2, some... Oh, the RE from GameCube that's on PC. Bit of Serious Sam, Shadow of the Colossus, Boss Rush, which I'd love to see. I want to see that Shadow of the Colossus speedrun, because that is some technical prowess, because those controls aren't the most intuitive, to be honest.
Ooh, Sonic Forces and Mania.
Yep, Sonic Mania Plus, actually.
That must be a race.
That is a bonus game race, actually.
Because that's all three. Well, at least two of the three.
Yeah, two of them are bad ending.
No, that'd be all three, because I think any percent for Encore mode is bad ending.
Oh,
so yeah,
okay.
that would be all three.
Alright, Sonic Rush, Sonic 1, Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion. Ooh.
I was wondering if Tones was going to throw that one in.
Yep.
That... Honestly, that's a quicker run than I thought it would be.
I would assume that the easiest thing to route... Well, quote-unquote the easiest thing to route in that game is your pathing.
It is. Like, I sat down just looking at it after I got the things, and yeah, the routing is easy, it's the execution, really.
Mm-hmm. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Yay, a bad Star Wars game! Super Gracie War? Or Gracie Word? Or World? Oh, fuck, I can't read words today. Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix. Super Mario Odyssey, Darker Side.
Ooh. And for those wondering, that's 503.
Where at? Wait, what?
Odyssey, Darker Side. That's the 503.
Yep. It was like
AKA,
503. Oh, right.
AKA the thing that Spike has done repeatedly.
Bit of Sunshine, 2v2 Lockout Bingo. Bit of Super Metroid.
I'm surprised they're letting bingos in on these.
It might be something just to get some more variety in there, because it's like, yeah, we got plenty of speedruns, but let's do some more technical stuff, like, because the Tetris stuff isn't necessarily a speedrun, it's more of a skill showcase. And the bingos might be a way of, like, doing more skill showcases and kind of breaking up, like, the proper speedruns of the marathon. It's like TaskBot.
Yeah, like I said, though, I'm still surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Also...
Well, then...
I'm wanting to say that Spike and a few others tried to submit a co-op randomizer for Ocarina of Time, and I see that didn't make it.
Oh.
That means no randomizer.
Yeah, maybe, I guess the Link to the Past randomizer from last marathon didn't go over well. Because we had a randomizer for Link to the Past last GDQ.
See, I feel like that's one of those that even I have to be questionable about. Because, on one hand, a good randomizer runner will be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
However, you gotta look too. Ocarina of Time, and the same can be said about Wind Waker, I can completely see them not accepting. Because that's easily anywhere between 4 to 6 hours that's shot right there. And
Yeah.
when you've got a lot of runs that can fill in with an hour to 2 hours, that's killing 3 runs you could have.
There's only so many big runs you can have.
Right. So I get that.
And aren't most of the time the really big runs the ones that are like after like the primetime runs and they go through midnight into the early morning runs?
Yeah.
Because like usually.
So I mean,
like,
at that point, do we really want a randomizer to be that run? I think though, the Link to the Past randomizer, they'd have a little more lenience on it because, and as a matter of fact, Link to the Past is in the list here. Low percent one-hit KO. The simple fact that they're accepting that one into the game's list is kind of the thing that's got me there. Because that, I mean, you're talking about you make a couple big screw ups and that time could probably double. Like, one hit KO is not something to play around with. And I'm surprised that they're letting that one go.
Yeah. And just above that, we have TaskBot playing a Mario 1 Portal cross-up game.
That's, yeah, I was gonna say that's the 2D one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that and have actually tried it before, I think. It was either that or I tried the SM64 ROM hack for it.
Morrowind, which I don't know why when I first read this list, I'm like, oh, Morrowind. Oh yeah, that's the really quick speed run that you get the door under the other door. Oh no, that's Oblivion, not Morrowind. But Morrowind's still like 30 minutes.
So it's still probably something like that.
Yeah. Because like Oblivion is like 15 or so. Like the only things you play are the tutorial area, and you immediately go to the main city, and you kind of glitch yourself into a wall and under the ground to access another door that leads you to the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because that's there the entire time you're playing the game.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the zone actually is loaded there the first time you're there. Which is completely retarded. And kind of makes you wonder if that was developer intended.
I would wait for... Have you seen the YouTube series called Boundary Break?
No.
Okay, there's a YouTube series called Boundary Break. And essentially it's a guy who, like, breaks the camera off where it's supposed to be and, like, looks at all the out of bounds and, like, off-camera stuff that is in games. And, like, sees all the little tricks developers use to make stuff happen. Like, for instance, in Arkham Knight, there is a scene where Ivy is going down in an elevator from the top of the building to the bottom of the building in a cutscene, right? Well, she's not going down. Actually, the shaft is moving up.
Huh.
But since the camera is in the elevator shaft, you're like, oh, I'm going down, right? No. I believe Ivy and the elevator are staying in place as the shaft moves skyward. The entire shaft up out of the building. Like, stuff like that. And like sometimes there's just stuff left somewhere. Like I think it was again in Arkham Knight. There was something about a texture that needed to be changed to the master texture. There's just a note there on a texture saying change this. That's just still in the game. But yeah, as you're saying, Link to the Past, low percent one hit KO, Majora's Mask 80%, Wind Waker 100%, Twilight Princess all dungeons, bit of Magical Quest with Mickey. The Messenger is here, just the 8-bit portion, not the 16-bit. Some Time Splitters 2, some Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness, a bit of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, some Trauma Center, which okay, sure. That is, you know how Surgeon Simulator is comedic and stuff?
Yeah.
What if we turned surgery into an anime?
Yeah.
And make you play it. That's Trauma Center in its entirety. Is alright, operate on this person.
Okay, that's a questionable one.
What?
Which plays Super Scribble Knots?
Oh, okay.
Now, how is that a speedrun?
I don't know. I see a Taskbot crews involved in this one. If the Wango AC's on there, oh, Taskbot's in this. Oh, joy. Virtual Highlight, which I remember from Pro Chair's video being absolute garbage and nonsense and terrible. And then Warcraft 3. So, we got some really cool stuff.
And you missed one.
What did I miss?
SMB2, aka in Japan, Doki Doki Panic. Very bottom.
Very bottom? Oh! Okay, yeah, I didn't even see the Japanese name. Derp. Well, folks, you get to see the original Doki Doki Panic.
I know it's kind of, for anyone that has played both, it's kind of one of those moments, because I said that there is some differences between the two, but pretty much SMB2 is that game, just modified. It's basically our first official ROM hack.
Essentially. Like, the assets are different, but everything under the hood is the same, I believe. It's the reason Peach can levitate.
And why that's canon.
Yep. Which, did you see Game Theory's video about the Super Crown from Super Mario U Deluxe?
No.
Essentially, it's nonsense. It's one of those nonsense Game Theory videos that I watch it and go, alright, Matt Pat, why are we going down the super dark dumb route? Essentially, Peachette is being groomed to replace Peach in canon. Which is nonsense, because he gives this reason of, like, how Peach became Peach, except, as I saw in the comments, one problem. Baby Peach. Baby Peach breaks all your stuff in this theory. Like, hard. Even though there's a far more reasonable explanation. And it's actually would, like, be a part of the canon because of Super Mario Bros. 1. Like, did you know, in Super Mario Bros. 1, you don't defeat Bowser 8 times. You defeat random enemies disguised as Bowser for like 7 worlds until you get to World 8, where you finally defeat Bowser?
Yep.
What if this crown is that same idea, only Peach is using it as a, oh, you want to kidnap me again? Well, find me! As there's dozens of Peaches walking around.
I can see that.
It's not completely finished, because apparently Peachette is shorter than Peach, and it still has Peachette's design aesthetics, like, turned over into Peach, but, like, Peach using something to essentially pull a fast one on Bowser, Yeah, that sounds far more reasonable and not insane. But anyway, last up, did you know that we had a Harry Potter game leak?
Nope.
Well, we did, and apparently it's not being developed by Rocksteady. I didn't know Rocksteady was in the conversation for this. But yeah, a Harry Potter game that is for realsies. Apparently it's called Harry Potter Magic Awakens. Other titles are in the running for this, Magic Forever included. Other Harry Potter games are thought to be on the way. But yeah, that we're gonna get a new Harry Potter game that Warner Brothers quietly removed all the footage for, and we only have like this one cutscene or this one image now, I guess.
Well then.
But apparently sweeping vistas of Hogwarts and all sorts of other... You know what? I'd be curious to see this. I didn't get to see the footage itself, but I'm like, oh, this might be interesting. And I guess Rocksteady's not working on this, so I guess that's one more thing Rocksteady's not working on.
Very true.
Damn it. Rocksteady, what are you working on? I want to know.
Something.
I want to support you, even though Arkham Knight wasn't really that good, but that was supposed to just because the port to PC that you weren't in charge of to start with. So, anything else?
Nope.
Alright, let's do releases! Alright. So, we're gonna kick things off on the 8th with Bombing Busters for Switch. And on the 9th, we have Air Mission Hind for PlayStation 4, Cat Quest for Switch, Disgaea 1 Complete for PlayStation 4 and Switch, Evasion for PlayStation 4, Goosebumps The Game for Switch, Mark of the Ninja Remastered for Xbox on PlayStation 4 and Switch, My Memory of Us for PlayStation 4, Pinball FX3, Williams. Apparently, I think that was what I was going for. I have no idea. Williams Pinball Volume 1 for Xbox on PlayStation 4 and Switch. Punchline for PlayStation 4 and Vita. Space Hulk Tactics for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Stranded Deep for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Super Blackjack Battle 2 Turbo Edition The Card Warriors for PlayStation 4. That might be the most badass card video game title I've ever fucking read in my life.
Yep.
Like, if this is just standard blackjack, I am disappointed. Like, this should be some fucking arcade blackjack bullshit.
Yes, it needs to be super blackjack.
And it's not really. This looks like, okay, take blackjack, or take Street Fighter, like the older Street Fighter aesthetic, and now you play blackjack. Like, this is what this literally looks like. Okay, I'm kind of disappointed in that. Anyway, Valkyria Chronicles 4 Squad E to the Beach for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. That's DLC, by the way. Warface for Xbox One, and WWE 2K19 with big head modes and Bray Wyatt style matches and like Zombie King Triple H on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I don't know. It was all in one commercial, and I'm like, this still is not going to get me to buy this, to be honest. On the 10th, we have Chronos Arc for Xbox One, Devious Dungeon for Xbox One, and Shift Happens on the Switch. On the 11th, we have Battle Group 2 for Switch, Boom Ball Boost Edition for Switch, Chasm for Switch, Child of Light Ultimate Edition for Switch, Dungeon Village for Switch, Feral Fury for Switch, Game Dev Story for Switch, Hot Spring Story for Switch, Iris School of Wizardry Vinculum Hearts for Switch, Shoggernauts for Switch, Matarika Real Estate for Switch, Spencer for Xbox One, The Missing JJ Macfield in the Island Memories for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. And finally, Tricky Towers for Switch. On the 12th, we got Broken Age for Switch. The coddiest of cods, Black Ops 4 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Luigi's Mansion for Switch, and The World Ends With You Final Remix for Switch. On the 15th, we have Raised for PlayStation 4 and Switch. Actually, now that I think about it, that should be... Isn't that Luigi's Mansion on 3DS? Oops. Scratch that. That's Luigi's Mansion on 3DS. My bad. That should be on 3DS, not Switch. Oops. Yeah, that's on. Oops, that's my bad. Where was I? On the 16th, it's Big Buck Hunter Arcade for Switch. Candle, The Powers of the Flame for Switch. Crayola Scoot for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Exoder for Switch. Fast Striker for PlayStation 4 and Vita. Flipping Death for PlayStation 4 and Switch. For Honor Marching Fire in Marching Fire Edition for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Heavy Fire Red Shadow for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Home Sweet Home for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Lego DC Super Villains for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Switch. NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Switch. Rapala Fishing Pro Series for Switch. Penguin Wars for PlayStation 4. Starlink Battle for Atlas for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Switch. The Hunter Call of the Wild 2019 edition for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Valkyria Chronicles the original for Switch. And Warriors Orochi for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Switch. On the 17th, we have Daru, The Art of Cooperation for Switch, and Jackbox Party Pack 5 for PlayStation 4 and Switch. On the 18th, we have Drift Legends for Switch, Motor Racer 4 for Switch, Resonance of Fate 4K HD Edition for PlayStation 4, Sinners Sacrifice for Redemption for Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Switch, Siberia 3 for Switch, and The Room for Switch. I have no idea if this has any relation to the movie. On the 19th, we have Dark Souls Trilogy for Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Switch, Cowboy Limited Edition for Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Switch, Soul Calibur 6 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Tied Together for Switch. And on the 20th, Pipe, Push, Paradise for the Switch. And that brings us to quick draws. And mine's going to that thing we were talking about last night with the Geo scan. Which, if you listen to us talk about it last night, I'm not gonna go over everything, as we kind of touched on all the major points. But the recap is, Waz is becoming a writer. He gets to use the powers of future generic writers. Geo gets his sequel, Geo 2, as a form. Gates gets a possibly all black, although I doubt it, defense in attack form. With Gates Revival. Geo gets a sword that connects to his other sword that has his face on it. Gates gets a saw blade and claw weapon. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, we kind of hit a lot of the thoughts, I feel like, last night. Has anything cropped up since then? Bobby? Hello? Hello? Bobby, you there? Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? Uh-oh. Well, this is awfully awkward. It's been a while since this has happened. Yeah, me just recapping like this, some of the stuff looks cool. like the GO2 stuff kind of reminds me of Double, but The Gates ones, I would love to see that in more full color and not in this like half silhouetted form that you probably can't see on the show at the moment. And Woz is like, hi Necrom, how you doing? Why are you using a bunch of generic writers that we'll never see in the show ever? Because I highly doubt they're gonna give these three generic, supremely generic writers fucking time. Even though I swear this third one might be an actual suit shot. I doubt it. But, yeah, it's cool that we're also getting the Final Form ride watches, at least half of them, like starting next year at some point. Yay! I guess my only disappointment out of all this is like, this stuff looks neat. Too bad I'm not the most excited about Geos. It's like, meh. And the Rider Kicks line is going, alright, we're gonna do some X8 stuff. And by X8 stuff, I mean, like, we're gonna do Muteki, Max Mighty, God Max Mighty, and Kronos, and Dangerous Zombie, and that's really it. Otherwise, it's just polishing off, like, major build stuff with, like, Cross Magma, Build Genius, Grease Blizzard, and just Rouge. Well, Rider Rouge, not Night Rouge. Just Rider Rouge. Woz is getting a weapon, but it's not the most spectacular looking weapon. It's a stick that has things on the top move to different modes when you hit a button. I don't know, like, I'm not... Maybe it's because we're not at full shots yet, but I'm not really feeling that much for Woz, even though he's probably the most interesting character on the show, to be honest. Yeah, when I'd say that these three are generic, they are generic. Because, let's see, let me find their names in this list. It's Shinobi, Quiz, and Kikai. Which, one's a ninja. Woo! We haven't had a ninja rider since the cross, technically, but honestly, I think like Shinobi looks the most interesting design-wise, at least from a helmet shot. Because Kikai doesn't look super interesting. Although I did see from Malinus on Twitter that these generic rider design, or these future riders, are essentially using designs from other stuff to create theirs. Like the Shinobi one is using the Ride Player helmet. The Quiz one is using Ghost helmet, or at least the Ghost aesthetic helmet, plus the Ride Player. And the Kikai is using actually the Guardians from Build. So yeah. I'd like to see where this plays out. I could talk about the Raw for Geo this week that like Fies and Kaiser are here and they don't get to do a whole lot. Like the plot might be interesting once it gets subbed. Although we did find out that this guy who had the Phi's Enforce in him technically wasn't done by the same person, so I guess that solves the issue. Time-wise, kind of, not really. That still feels weird. I'm gonna see if anything's in the discussion thread or if it's just the raw. No raw! Yeah, it doesn't quite talk about how, like, Phis and Kaiza are both Orphanox, so for eliminating villains, like, does that eliminate the Orphanox? Because I think the Orphanox it's a DNA thing with the Orphanox, so, like, does that eliminate the Orphanox genes that allows them to become an Orphanox? And, like, prolong their life after they've died? That's what's going on here? It's another one of those cases where Geo once more introduces an idea but doesn't really talk about it, so it's just kind of left in the open. And it's kind of distracting. If you know the series. Although I do appreciate them trying to combine together old footage of Fives from like the second episode, I think, with new footage. Even though it is very obvious that, like, yeah, you're not fooling me. This is new footage. Yeah, I'm not as down on Geo as I was before, but it's mostly because I'm not being as hard on the show, is probably what it is. That's making me kind of enjoy it, but I think it's also because Sakamoto was at the helm, so the directing was really good this week. Or at least these last 2 weeks. So, like, even if the writing is not the best, it at least looks fucking good. These action sequences are dynamic and stuff. Like, I love the little tidbit from this week with Geo once more doing the Force A finisher, and when he has his free arm out of the rocket is just floating there next to it. And I like that little touch of, like, instead of it kind of like dismantling and just kind of hanging out there in the dismantled form, no, it just like popped off and it's just hanging out there until Geo's ready for it. And I have this save thread of Ika Devil talking about Gaim that I'm going to read through once we're done with the show. Which, I find it weird that people are super hard down on Gaim in these recent years. Because, like, I thought Gaim was pretty good. Overall. It's like, is this a case of where people are hating a show because, like, everyone kept talking about it? Or is it, like, do people have, like, legitimate grievances with it? The next video for Geo is Wizard, which I believe it's 1 episode. Yeah, it's probably 1 episode because we didn't see the wizard armor in it. Although I do like that they worked in a Haruto cameo without needing him because they just had him using Connect to just pluck a donut off a plate. Which still feels in character with Haruto. Sort of. He would actually just buy donuts. But he's more or less become just a wandering traveler, or just a wandering rider since Wizard ended. And I am running out of things to talk about related to my quick draw. Because I see in the show notes that Tommy doesn't have one. Maybe he's awake. We can talk about stuff and then end the show. Of course, I'm listening to Persona 5 soundtrack and I'm on. Piss. Where was this song used? That's the fun part about listening to the soundtrack, because, like I said, Friday, like, most, if not all, of the Persona 5 soundtrack is used in-game at some point. So, if you're listening to the soundtrack, you most likely can pinpoint where a certain song was used. Which is an odd contrast as compared to Breath of the Wild, weirdly, because, like, most of the soundtrack to Breath of the Wild is not used in-game. Which I find insane, because some of those songs are really fucking good. Like, the Ganon songs, which I don't think are used in the game. Like, the Ganon theme is insanely good. Because it takes aspects of the Guardians theme and mixes that in with, I think, the main Breath of the Wild theme, and has them kind of competing against each other in, like, a really cool way. Like, I really enjoyed listening to that song. And I love how there are two versions of it. So there's one where they're fairly even, but there's another one where the Breath of the Wild theme is actually taking over the Guardians theme at certain points in the song, and that's the one you hear when you're fighting giant, flaming, neon demon boar Ganon. The other one is supposed to be playing when you're just fighting Ganon normally. Yeah, Breath of the Wild has a lot of good songs. If you never got to hear them when you were playing the game, I highly encourage you. The Guardians theme especially is, like, also really good. Like, if you ever wanted to hear a man go ham on a piano, listen to those, because by God, you're gonna hear a man go ham on a piano like you've never heard before, unless you, like me, who's watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where you have some dueling piano music that is really good. Let's see. Like, right now, the song that's playing is My Homie, which is played, I want to say that's used exclusively for your S-Links with your team members. I say S-Links, I know the Persona 5 uses Confidants. I still call it S-Links because that's, like, what was used for 2 games before at Persona 5, and I think Confidants is only used to match the theme of Persona 5, because they still work like S-Links. But yeah, this song's mostly used as a, hey, we're just hanging out, having fun. I hear dog. Maybe dog can get Tommy to wake up? I'm sure none of these Discord messages are paying anything. Fuck. I have not had used Chantango in forever. Let's see, this one is Wicked Plan. It's not one of those instant sound or moment songs, really. It's just used when you're playing something out in the game in terms of dialogue. A lot of times, some of these songs will just fade in and out into each other in the course of dialogue. The episode preview for subbed for Geo episode 7's up. Alright, what does that dialogue say? Oh, there is a wizard and a beast lock. Beast Ride Watch. Wow, that's the first time we've seen secondary rider ride watch in a while. And I'm guessing they're on Nito has them. I'm willing to bet, because I'm willing to bet that's his backpack. So I'm guessing Haruto, in theory, passed off that ride watch to Nito, so Nito could pass it off to Sogo and crew, I assume. Because he's busy doing whatever he's doing since Wizard ended, just roaming about, solving, I guess, random phantom attacks. Yeah, I will say from what we saw from the episode 7 preview that another wizard looks really good, which I think is going to be one of the most consistent things I can say about this show. Is that the another riders look good. Because, like, from the image I'm seeing here, like, the whole helmet as a ring aspect is... It kind of has a bit of Flame Dragon in it, which kind of matches up with the Ride Watch that is pulling more from Flame Dragon than his base flame. Like, it has, like, all the silver bands in it, kind of melding into the suit. There's, like, 3 skulls in here! Like, there's this kind of bigger, accentuated skull on the chest, there's skulls on the shoulder pads, there's a skeletal hand on the chest belt, which isn't... It actually isn't even the full wizard driver, it's just, like, the front part of the wizard driver. Like, hot damn, these look really good! I'm going to be so disappointed when this show never does any of them. Like, none of them. Or, like, none of these storylines do them. Like, Soto might be the only one that might do them as probably a premium set, because I can't think you could really reuse parts for any of these, but I don't know if they would really work at that scale. Because Soto is like I think the Soto figures are about 4-inch. And I don't know if you can really shrink down these designs to 4-inch. 6-inch will work, but like, Figure Arts ain't touching the shit. Figure Arts barely wants a complete series right now. Like, technically Ghost is still incomplete, so we still don't have Mugen. At least for the TV show end. We still don't have Mugen. X8's still incomplete because we still don't have Muteki, or, like, base, or, like, proper regular Max Mighty. We have God Max Mighty, but we don't have regular Max Mighty, which is still insane to think about. Shows, like, how fucking popular Dan Kuroto is in terms of Japan. Build is... I want to say they're prototyping Grease Blizzard at the moment. I think outside of Muscle Galaxy, we have just about every single one of Banjo's rider forms right now. Either announced or in the works. Grease is the same way. Rouge is complete at the moment. So we don't have a Volt yet in any of his forms, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's next on the list. And like no word on Genius yet, or either of the Rabbit Tank forms, which is once more a case of a what the fuck. I figured I'd drop that. I pull on a wire and that bottle would fly off my desk. Yeah, it's gonna be a shame when because we're going to, I assume, get all 20 rider or like all 19 another rider designs. We might get a bonus another Geo / Oma Geo. You there?
Yep.
Okay. I was killing time. Because I finished up releases, started to talk about the quick draw, found out you were asleep, and went, fuck. Well, I guess I'm talking about stuff now. But yeah, I hit the highlights of the quarter 2 scans for Geo, which it's probably because I'm not as up on Geo that I'm like, some of this stuff looks cool. Kinda just gonna wait till it chops up in the show, really. I don't know, has your opinion changed on any of this?
Not really, no.
Like, the only part I'm really down on is, oh look, we're using generic writers who are technically reusing design elements from other smaller stuff. Like, the Kakai writer is actually using parts of the Guardians from Build. I believe both Shinobi and Quiz are using the right players as a base. And the Quiz one is using the Ghost Helmet. Like, we're never seeing these three. But yet, oh look, Woz is using them, even though we have few riders to use. Why aren't we using them? Yeah, that's really all I was gonna say. I was just talking about how we're probably never gonna get any of the another rider designs in any type of figure form, really. Which is going to suck, because they're probably the best design stuff of the show.
Yep.
Like, I need to snapshot another wizard and show it to you real quick. Because the preview is on YouTube at the moment. Of course, I say that, and I could probably just time code it and probably be faster for me to just snip this and send it to you. But yeah, another wizard looks really good. Let's see, throw this on the desktop for me real quick. You can stay as that. Come on. I say this will be faster. Up, there it comes. There you go. I don't know why they decided we need to go super hard on the skulls and skeletal design, but I dig it.
Huh. Yeah, that does look neat.
And also, we are going to get a Beast Ride watch in the show. Probably no Beast Ride armor, but you know what? It's in the show, because Ito has both Beast and Wizard on him at the moment. Or at least I'm assuming it's Beast. Or I'm assuming Nito's the one that has them because they're like tied to a backpack, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably Nito. Yeah, any thoughts on the scans and stuff?
No.
Other than what we talked about Friday? Because we kind of hit everything Friday.
Yeah, I think we kind of hit everything.
Alright. So, that will do it, because you don't have to work tomorrow, right?
Right.
Yep. That'll do us for this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk more gaming news stuff. Whatever may happen, maybe Meltan, Incognito, Ditto Nut, whatever name you wish to choose to call him, we'll have more news then. Yeah, we will see you in 2 weeks, folks.